Hello guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, I am going to show you demo regarding Crud operation using SQLite in .NET MAUI Blazor app. So here I just created a new project. So let me explain you first the project structure of .NET MAUI Blazor app. So in app.yaml.cs, here the main page is set to new main page, and in a main page.yaml, here is the way Blazor web view is defined, and that web view host page is pointing to index.html, and this file exists in www root folder. So here index.html file, it's going to load all the CSS like a Bootstrap CSS and the JavaScript like Blazor WebView.js, and also here div tag id app defined. So whatever the content that going to inject, so that going to display here. And after that, component type, so this root component type is main component. So here in a main.razor component, routing is defined like if whatever the page you are going to navigate or page you are going to open, if that page is found, then this routing view going to open that page. If the page is not found, then it's going to display like sorry, there is nothing at this address. So if the navigation page found, then it's going to display from this routing view. So now the default layout is the main layout. So if you see here in a main layout, first is the sidebar defined. So sidebar is like this. If you see this, so this is a sidebar, and here in div tag navigation menu component is defined. So here is the navigation menu.razor component, and here all the navigation pages like a link and that navigation URL is assigned. So here href, like here href is empty, so it's pointing to index page, and this counter, this page is pointing to counter page, and this is pointing to fetch data. So this page is defined here like in pages folder. So index.razor has a only slash, means this is the root page. So when the application open, that time this page is going to display first. So this is the index.razor, and after I select counter, then it's displaying counter page. So that is here. So here in a page directive, it's defined as a slash counter. So whatever the routing you define here, so that going to open from the navigation menu, because here that href pointing to counter. So if I change this to something else and let me rerun the app, then if the page is not found, then it's going to display here from main.razor, this message is going to display if the page that you are going to navigate, that page is not found, then okay. Now let me try to navigate to counter page. Okay, so now it's showing me as a this like a that routing page is not found. Because of that, it's displaying this message. So now let me change again this page to counter, and let's rerun the app. Okay, so now it's navigating. Okay, so let's install now require plugin to implement CRUD operation. So here is the plugins that require to perform CRUD operation. I already installed this all plugin, so you can, I will add this in the comment section so you can install this all plugin. So to install that plugin, just right click on project and click on manage NuGet packages. And here just search for the plugin and install that plugin in your project. So here I already installed this all plugin. Okay, so now let's create the services to perform CRUD operation like getting data, then adding record, deleting record, and so on. So here I am just going to add new folder called services. And here I will add new class. First I will add interface. iStudent service. And the class that going to implement that interface. Okay, now let me create a model for it, like a student model that we use for like adding record in SQLite. Okay, so here in this student model table, I'm just going to use property like student ID, and that will be a primary key auto increment. Then first name, last name, then gender, and email. Okay, so this much property I am just going to use to perform add, update and delete operation. So let me add a method related to this in services, student service. So add student, and that student record is going to type of this student model. Same way for update student, then delete student. Okay, now another property I'm just going to define here is a method that going to return list of student. Okay, now let's implement this all method in student service class. Okay, let's add now code related to database configuration, like creating table in database. So here I am just going to use SQLite async connection, So here I will check, like if the database connection is null, then I'm just going to add database, the name of like a student db3 in this special folder, local application data, and then I will add here table, create table async student table, student model table. So that table name will be student model. If you want to use some other table name, then you can just specify here table and whatever the name you want, so you can specify like that way. So right now I'm just going to use this student model and call this setup db here. Okay, now let's write code related to adding student. So here db connection dot insert async, and in that I'm just going to pass this student model. And this insert async method going to return the number of rows added to this table. So here in this condition, it going to, like if the record is inserted, then it's going to return 1. So same way here delete async and this student model. Okay, now here for student list, here I am just going to fetch all the record from this student model table, and this will return data in form of student model. Okay, so now the setup is ready, like adding, updating and deleting record stuff is ready. So now let's add this service in MAUI program.cs. So here I am just going to register service. Okay, so now the service registration is ready. Now let's add a new page called like for displaying student list and adding student list. Okay, so here I'm just going to add razor component for adding and updating student. Okay, and this page name I'm just going to set add update student. Okay, now let me add this page reference in navigation. So here in the shared folder, navigation menu component is available. So here I am just going to add href reference will be this, and link name I will set as a add edit student. Okay, now let me run the app and let's see it's navigating to add update student page or not. Okay, so here it displaying edit student menu, and on the click of this it's navigating to this page, add update student page. Now let me add some UI code here for adding student details. So I already designed that UI, so let me just copy and paste it here. Okay, I need to rerun app every time. Okay, so this UI I just copied from Bootstrap, so you can learn regarding this from Bootstrap. Okay, now it's showing this UI like first name, last name, email, and the gender selection. Okay, so now let me bind this property like first name, last name, email, and on the click of submit I will display some message like it's working or not. So let's check that. So here I'm just going to create property okay. So this first name, last name, email, and gender I'm just going to bind here. So in a first name I will use this @bind property, and here just specify the property name that I declare here. So whatever the user type in this text box, it's automatically going to bind to this first name property. So similar way I'm just going to set for last name, then email. Okay, now for this gender selection I have like I'm using the radio button here. So for that you can use @onChange property, and in that I'm just going to call one method. So let me declare here method call set gender, and here I will pass whatever the gender selected from text box, and that I will set here in this variable. Okay, so when I select this radio button for a male, then it's going to call this setGender method, and that parameter will be passed like a male. And same way I will do for this another radio button, and I will pass here female. So that going to set here. Now another method I am just going to create. It's @student-record method, and that I will call on click of submit button. So here I will use on click property, and I will call this @student-record method. So right now I'm just going to display alert on the click of button, like button click invoke, to verify this method is working or not. And also I will check this all property, like it's a binding first name, last name, and gender detail or not. Okay, so let me run the application. Okay, now when I click on submit button, so here add student record method is calling and it will displaying uh, this .NET MAUI display alert. Okay, now let me add some value here, like okay, and on the click of submit, let's see, like here first name, then last name, and the email. This all property is binding because we have used this @binding property, and in that I am just passing this first name, last name, and email. Okay, now here @on change event here, yeah, this one @on change event, I'm just calling this set gender method. So let's see if this method is calling or not. So when I select here male, then this set gender method invoking and it's passing here gender as a male, and if I select this female, then it's passing gender as a female. Okay, now let's add this record into the student model table. Okay, so for that I need to use here student service that I created. For that you can use here @inject directive, and here just pass that interface I student service. Okay, now I can use this service for adding record. So here add student, and I'm just going to pass here student model, and first name will be this, then last name, email, and the gender. Okay, now I will check here. If response greater than 0, that means record is added. Okay, and here now first name, okay, and I will set first name, last name, gender, and email to empty, so it will clear all the text box if the record is added, and if some error occur, then I will show here some error message. Okay, here I am using display alert method, but you can use bootstrap model pop-up page or bootstrap some alert. There are lots of UI that you can use here to make your app looks beautiful. Okay, now let me run the app. Okay, now let me try to add record here. Okay, so it's displaying now that record added to student table, and it's not clearing this all the values. Here I have added this. So let me add here. I need to notify UI that some property is changed. So for that, state has changed. I'm just going to invoke this when the record is added. So it's going to notify to UI that this all property is changed. Then it's going to clear now all the values. So let's see that. Okay, now it's clearing all the values on the click of submit. Now let me display record, like whatever the student record added, that I'm just going to display here in this page, weather forecast page. So for that, let me open this fetch data component. So first I'm just going to change this service to student service. Okay, now here on initializer sync method, I'm just going to call student service dot get all student, and this method going to return list of student model. Okay, and these students I'm just going to bind here, like if the student equal to null, then it will display this loading message, and if it is not null, then on the head section, table head, I will first let me change the UI. Okay, now student in students object, and here student dot first name, okay. So from this object, students object, I'm just using this for each loop, and inside that this tr tag will dynamically generated. So if the 10 student record coming from this object, then 10 row will be created, and in that it will display first name, last name, gender and email. Okay, so let's run the app and let's see it's displaying student lists or not. Sorry. Okay, so it's displaying the student record here on student list page. Let's add now two buttons here. For one is like editing student detail and deleting student detail. So I'm just going to add here a button. Let me just copy. Okay, so here two button is added, edit and delete, but it's not responsive. So let me add here di with tag. Okay, now here on the click of edit button, I'm just going to redirect to this edit student page, and on the click of this delete button, I'm just going to delete record from this table. So let me create a method for this here. And here I will pass student model, student, and from this student service I will just call delete student method, and I will pass here student object. Let me stop debugging. Okay, and if response is greater than 0, then I will just call this on initialize method again. Like once the record is deleted from this table, then I will just bind again that UI. Okay, now here on click, I'm just going to call this method delete student. Sorry, here on edit button I will call here delete student method. And this student object I will pass in this method, and this going to delete a record from the table. Okay, now let me run the app and let's see like it's a deleting record or not. Okay, I think I've written a wrong syntax for delete button. Let me see here. Yeah, I need to rerun the application to see these changes. Okay, let me verify it is this syntax. Okay, yeah, I think now it will work fine. Yeah, now let me delete record from here. Okay. Yeah, it's deleting record, but like it's not reflecting in UI. So here let me use this that state has changed property to reflect. Okay, I need to add a record. Okay, now let me try to delete. Okay, so now the record is deleted. Okay, now on the click of edit button, I will navigate to this page, add edit student page, and there I will write a update related code. Okay, so now here I will create same on click event, and here I will call edit student method. So let me create method which called edit student. Here I will only pass student ID. Okay, okay, so on the click of edit button, it's going to call edit student method, and in that I am just passing a student ID, and here I need to inject another service like navigation manager. So this now I will use for navigating to other page. Okay, and here the page name, so I need to use add update here whatever the page name I have added. So let's add another page called like add update student, and here I will pass student ID. In an integer format. So this here I will use add update student and student ID I will pass. Okay, here you can use any page, like here we are calling for update student, then let's just use this name here, and for adding I will use like add student. Okay, and here this student ID I need to define parameter here, so let's define parameter private public integer student ID. Okay, so this student ID parameter is a type of integer that going to set from this page, like when it's called update student, then it will also has a student ID as a parameter, and that parameter going to set here. So let's see on initialization that student ID returning or not. So here on initialize I will just check student ID, and let's see like it's while navigating it's displaying or not. So before that I need to use this add student name in navigation menu also, because I changed it. Now let's run the app and let's see it's fetching student ID from edit button or not on the click of edit button. Okay, so it's throwing error, like unhandled error occurred. Let me see parameter that I have defined. Okay, so here I forgot to add this slash here. Let me rerun the app. Okay, now it's working, and on the click of add edit student, it's navigating to this page, and on from the fetch data, when I click on edit, it's navigating to again this page. So now for binding, like let's see that student ID here coming or not. So again let me see here on fetch data, and when I click on edit, okay, so here student ID is coming. Okay, so now I need to bind first name, last name and email, this all detail here. So for that now I need to fetch data from student from table based on student ID. So let me create a method in student service to get that data. So that student will be the single response like a student model. So get student by ID, and here I will pass student ID. So let me implement this method get student by ID. Here I will add student equal to here I will use query async on this table, and I will write here query select star from okay. So here this will be like a select start from this table name where student ID equal to whatever the ID that I am passing, and this student first or default response I am just going to return. Okay, now let me call this get student by ID method on here add update student component. So here on initialize I will check like if student ID greater than 0, that means its call came from student list page, and here I will call student service that get student by ID, and this student ID I will pass. Okay, if the response is not null, then I will set here first name will be from the response, then last name, then email and gender. Okay, now let me run the app and see like this value is binding or not. Okay, now on the click of edit, it's binding first name, last name and the email address, but it's not binding gender. So let's bind this gender selection. So for that I'm just going to use here like check the property, and here I will check if gender equal to male, then it will be checked to true, and here I will check like female. Okay, now other thing also, let's implement save logic here. Add student record. So here I will check like if student ID greater than 0, then here update record, and here will be add record. Okay, so here I just adding globally, so I no need to repeat this code. And student ID will be student ID. Okay. Okay, so here if the student ID greater than 0, then I am just going to call this update student method, and in that I will pass this student model object. And here student ID will be set as a, like if that navigation call came from this fetch data page, then it has a student ID, otherwise that student ID will be 0. So if it is 0, then just add record to student table, and here I will just display now message record save to student table. Okay, now let's run the application and let's see it's working or not. Okay, now here on fetch data page, when I click on edit, okay, it's not displaying gender. Let me see in fetch data. Okay, so here that gender is not available, because of that it's not displaying. Let me add one record. With gender selection. Okay, now let me see in fetch data. Okay, when I click on edit, so now the default gender is selected. Now let me try to update record. Okay, now it's showing me record saved to student table. Now let me see in fetch data. So this updated record is displaying. Okay, so yeah, that's all for today. I hope you like this video, and thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe my channel.